Hi, and welcome to At Home with Anita Rosner. It's spring, the farmer's market is reopened, and that means it's rhubarb season. I went straight for the rhubarb. Look at the color of this. This is absolutely beautiful. I bought a few stalks because you can put this in the freezer. Cut it up, put it in an airtight Ziploc bag or container, and you can use it all throughout the year for recipes. Today, what we are using it for is we're going to make a raspberry rhubarb galette. Now, a galette is a free-form pie, if you will. It's easy to make. You don't even need a pie tin. We're going to bake it on a sheet pan, and I think we should get started. We're going to make the dough of the galette first because that has to chill in the refrigerator for half an hour. And the beauty of this is you don't need a food processor to make it. You just need your hands. So we're going to start with a cup and a half of flour, and then we're just going to whisk in a tablespoon of sugar and a quarter teaspoon of salt. Then we have a stick of butter, ice cold. I cut it into chunks. We're going to dump that in the bowl. I'm using a pastry cutter. You can use a fork for this. We're just going to cut the butter into the dough. We're not using our hands yet at this point because we don't want the heat of our hands to melt the butter. And it doesn't matter if you end up with chunks of butter in your dough. That is perfectly okay. You want to break your cubes of butter down so they're about pea size. And now at this point, we're going to add the ice water, just enough to hold it together. So I'm going to start with 2 tablespoons. And this is where we're going to get our hands dirty. You see, it's just starting to hold together a bit, but we're going to need more water. Not much. After those first 2 tablespoons, then you will add water 1 tablespoon at a time. We're almost there. At this point, I'm going to turn it out. Just going to drizzle a little bit more water on there. Okay, this looks pretty good. Now we're just going to flatten it into a disc. Cover it in plastic wrap, and this is going in the fridge for 30 minutes. Now for the filling. I have 2 cups of raspberries, washed and drained, and 2 cups of the rhubarb, which you have to slice thin because a galette does not bake as long as a pie. And in order for the rhubarb to become tender, you have to slice it thin. In this bowl, I have a cup of sugar, into which I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. We'll just whisk those together. Add the rhubarb to the raspberries. Pour in our sugar mixture, and we just toss this. Now, what we're doing is called macerating the berries. By adding the sugar, we're going to let these sit for a few minutes. It's going to draw out the juices. This is looking good already. Okay, we're going to let these sit while the dough continues to chill, and then we'll get on to our next step. Our dough is chilled, so now we're just going to roll it out on a piece of parchment. The oven is preheating to 400. All right, that's good. We want it about 1/4 of an inch thick. Now we're just transferring this to a sheet pan, and now we'll spoon in our fruit. This has become very, very juicy. So you want more fruit than juice because you don't want a soggy bottom. Now you see all this extra leftover juice? Don't throw this out. Boil that on the stove. It'll thicken up and make a nice glaze. All right, now we're just going to gather up the sides. We sprung a leak. That's totally fine. You don't have to fuss with crimping or any of that. We're just gathering. Now I made an egg wash with 1 egg and about a teaspoon of water. I just beat that together. We're going to wash the outside of the galette. Now just sprinkle this with sugar. This is going into the oven for between 30 and 35 minutes. When the galette finishes baking, transfer it to a wire rack and cool completely before cutting. While the galette was baking, I boiled down the excess juices and made this beautiful glaze, which I added to the top of the dessert. You could also, this would be incredible on ice cream, or you could glaze pork chops with it. That would be really good. I've got some whipped cream on the side. Here is our beautiful galette. Let me just give it a little tilt so you could see it better. Look at that. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, and become a subscriber. I'd love to have you back here at home with Anita Rosner. Thanks for watching.